I'm gonna come up with that elbow. Watch it again. Right from my Philly style stance, bang, he walks right into that elbow. Today we're gonna go over some elbow techniques, kicking, punching, wrestling, even groundwork. A couple reasons to use your elbows. He's open for it, you're in elbow range, or you have an injury to a hand or both hands, and now your elbows can be used as a weapon. So here's a elbow strike off of a straight punch. Eric throws his cross, and I could parry that cross, or I could do this to that cross. I could bring him in right into that elbow. So you kind of loop it and catch it, and it sticks to the technique, and you redirect it and pull it through. Boxers do it all the time to get their hook punch in. If you've ever seen a good technical boxer do that, it's usually a long punch. He's overreaching a little bit, and I brought him in, he leans, he falls right into that elbow strike. I could also do it with the lead hand, maybe a shotgun jab or longer jab, and I pull him in, and there's my shot. He comes in with that jab, I pull it in. Your hands have to be in position. It's right where I would parry it, and in this case, I just draw him into that shot, and then I could finish. There's my shot, there's my finish. I could fire away with kicks if I like. This is a great technique to lead off with. If Eric doesn't block this technique, a lot of times when we're exchanging punches, notice the distance. I'm almost outside in jabbing range. Might be a little closer. I found my way in. I'm going to take a quick step and come right up the middle. You'll see that you'll catch a lot of people, especially if they're not Thai fighters or they don't deal with elbows much. So this quick shot right down the middle with the lead elbow is awesome. If he's sharp, he's going to catch it like he would catch an uppercut with the same side hand. I'm going to hook that and come right back in with that negative energy that he gives back to me. If I pull, he usually pulls back. So I rip that hand down, he's holding on to it, that brings my elbow into him. Something you have to feel to really appreciate it. So when you work it with a partner, you'll feel how it works. Up the middle and come over the top here. Now here's what happens a lot of times in fighting. If this guy's sharp, he's gonna block, and now he'll block this shot with this hand. I'm gonna trap, and notice his rear hand doesn't get trapped. So I'll fire another shot. If he blocks again, now the arms are bound up. Now I come in close, and I'm in trapping range. In boxing, one of the first combinations you learn is hooking off the jab. If a guy's parrying or reaching too far on your jab, you always hook off of it and you'll score a lot with it. Watch it in boxing, always be ready for it. Don't parry too far ahead, always be ready for the hook. Instead of a hook, we're gonna drop an elbow on this opponent. So he parries this shot, and there's my line. He parries, and I come in, I take a little deeper step. In fighting, I usually teach my fighters how to use conventional boxing and karate style fighting stances. Side stance, that could be karate or Philly style boxing stance, and of course a wrestler or grappling stance. So, and there's variations in between. So fighting is very complicated. You try to simplify it as much as possible, but really when you look at it, it becomes very complicated the better the fighter you have in front of you. So we were working on Philly style, and Eric is I'm actually in kicking range. Usually when I get into Philly style, I blade my body a little bit more, so I get a little bit more distance on my kicks. I could spin, I could work off of this. A lot of times, guy likes to drop level and shoot in on that. So I'll just let Eric shoot in and let you see what he's looking for. It's almost like a bar Sagar. He's coming to get this single, he'll go across to the other leg and launch me. So as he comes in, I'm going to come up with that elbow. Watch it again. Right from my Philly style stance, bang, He walks right into that elbow. And that elbow is coming up this way. Now don't load it. You don't have to load it. Just go from where it's at, and you go. And it's a very, very powerful shot. We're going to be wrestling now. This is trapping range. Wrestling tie-ups is considered more or less trapping range. Takedowns could happen. This is an MMA fight or a real fight. We're going to involve our elbows. If you're a Shuri person, you'll see some of the elbows that are involved in your forms and your techniques. If you're Shinto Yoshi and Kai, absolutely, we'll see a lot of what's involved in what you do. And MMA, Shinto fighters, you guys are going to see what you should be doing. We should all be doing this. And I'll insert some wrist locks and things like that for actual self-defense. So here we are. The first thing we're going to do is Eric's going to get inside ties on me. When he gets inside ties, give me a post with your thumb, son. That's a post. That's a defensive wrestling position. It could be a fighting position too. An inside tie is different. Inside tie is like praying mantis, right? You bend at the wrist and you have your opponent at the wrist. It's very effective, very powerful. That inside tie, I'm going to pull down with an over tie on this side and push up on his elbow. As I circle this way, look at where his head is. Bang, right there for that elbow. Watch that one more time. I circle him in. There's my shot. I do it on the other side. I'm going to push up on the elbow, circle in this way. There's my shot. Watch it on this side. I'm pushing up. I go from my outside tie to an over tie on one side, but I keep my elbow bind on this side. I circle, bring him up, and his head comes right to position. The other thing you'll see here is when this guy gets his inside ties here, is when I bring him into this position here and I come over the top, there's a great wrist lock in here, or wrist destruction, if we do it ballistically. Now the next technique is I have the inside ties. Anything can happen in a fight situation. I like both. I like to work off elbow binds. I like to work off of inside ties. So the way I'm going to get my elbow here now is I pull with this inside tie. Sometimes I'll hit his head and pull with this inside tie to create a duck under, to create the energy for a duck under. If I want to get an elbow in though, I'm going to pull with this inside tie, and here's my elbow shot with the opposite side hand instead of the same side hand. So we're fighting here, and I get a good pull here, and bang, there's my opposite side hand. I pull this way, bang, opposite side hand. Now we're going to get our elbows in on our ground and pound. Could be very devastating if you watch some of the fights. One of the things that I like to do is what we're doing standing up. We trap the hand. I get bicep control on the other side. My elbow's tight. And now I come over the top with this elbow here. If I don't have that under control, or that hand gets free, or maybe I have both wrists and I'm going back and forth, he gets the opportunity to block here. I'm going to trap this hand. I'm going to fire here. And then I'll trap this one. And now he's in big trouble. I'm going to get several shots or in the fight here before he's able to deal with it. A couple of things that we can do here. Trap, control the other side, and fire here. Have both sides because of the nature of the fight, and he's still able to block here. That's okay. I come across. He usually gets that hand out. I'll fire real nice and hard now. I got a real solid trap here. Bang, I might have a chance of passing here, opening his guard. The way to defend this, Eric's going to defend this. I have this trapped. I'm firing this elbow. Maybe I caught him once. Maybe he wasn't ready for it. If he sees what's happening here, he's just going to match his elbow to my elbow. And that keeps him from getting hit here. Boom. Hard for me to get a clean shot. Not too complicated, but great stuff. Just a quick note here. You see Eric's wearing his Cowboys wrestling. That's a high school in our area, and Eric's assistant coach there. The head coach is Coach Sodergren. He is our wrestling coach for our dojo. Probably one of the best wrestlers I've been on the mat with, and I've been on the mat with Olympians. He is an amazing wrestling coach and an amazing person. One of the most good, godly, moral people I know. one of the most technical wrestling coaches and wrestlers I know. But that's our guests, our wrestlers there. We root for.